We don't have a lot of heavy-duty work to do tonight. Possibly, we have an emergency stormwater situation, but it's not very expensive. We have to decide on a bid, and we have a performance award for snow removal to discuss. And we have, after the meeting is over, we have Mike Hart, who's going to come to speak to us informally. He's a candidate for the Board of Commissioners. So I'd like us to stay very close to the agenda, if not go faster. So I guess the main thing is it snowed again, and Maria will talk when she gets the office update about the reactions to the new invoices and a little more update on the signs. But that's all I have to say. So I'd like your approval of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Everyone in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Public comment?
You mean the agenda?
2 minutes?
I have a question. The fee that is now being charged, I'd like to know, that's going to add like $40,000 to your bottom line. What kind of capital projects are planned? And if I have to put it in writing, I'd like to get a response back from the board.
Point of order.
Okay, is that the end of your remarks? Okay. We normally don't respond, but I would refer you to the last 2 newsletters, which go into a great deal of detail. And the increment you cite as adding to the bottom line is actually much smaller, because this, in a way, replaces the dues. So, but I did want to refer you to the newsletter, and we're available to discuss privately. So, any other comment? Well, there's no other. Okay. I would like a motion to approve.
So moved, approve the minutes,
The minutes.
as distributed.
Second?
Yes, second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Hi, Aubrey.
Not today, not at the same time.
Okay, Aubrey, you're just in time for the office update.
Sit down.
Okay.
All right.
Sit here.
Statements were mailed, as we all know, on February 27th. We've had a few comments, not very many. I'm trying to keep track a little bit of the negative versus positive comments. We've had 5 negative, 2 neutral, 1 positive. We did, however, about a week and a half ago, before the statements were mailed, receive a check for $200 from the property owner. And when I checked his account, he only owed $30 for the upcoming fiscal year. So I called him, and he explained that he knew the increase was coming because he'd been reading the newsletter, but he had not yet received a statement. He said he was in favor of the change in the fee structure, and not knowing how much he would owe, he sent the check early. And he said to post the balance of that as a donation, which I thought was very generous of him. Also, there's a correction to the January minutes. Dan Mathias did not state that he will be a candidate. He's considering it, but he didn't state that he would do that yet. And as you may recall, in the October meeting, I told everybody that every June I submit a list of lots which are to be assessed the special tax district. In June of 2013, I submitted an additional 9 lots owned by the Drum Point Club. The club questioned this since they had not been billed for these lots in the past. I contacted the tax assessment office and was told that 6 of the 9 lots have a 0 assessed value and as such are not subject to any taxes, including the STD. So a letter was sent to the Calvert County Treasurer's Office advising them that a credit should be issued to the club for those 6 lots, and a copy of that letter was sent to the Drum Point Club.
Can I interject just a second there? Not only they have zero property value, they're actually little slivers between lots at the edge of things. They're really on the board, they're just nothing. So it's as if somebody had a little space left over when they drew the lines to make the lots.
So are they classified as tree
Nothing.
farms, or what are they? I mean, how could they,
They have a
just because they have zero value doesn't mean they're not lots.
When I contacted the tax assessment office, I was told the zero assessed value and that 30, 40 years ago when these properties were platted, those lots were considered to be of value to the community. And so
Yeah.
therefore had a zero assessed value and are assessed no taxes.
Why,
County, state, nothing.
why did they suddenly assess them, put them on our list?
I put them on the list. I'm the one,
You
I submit.
found them.
I found them, well, because of all the fee structure changes, I'm going through all the different lots in the community, and I find these 9 actually that had never been on the list for the STD multiple, it's called the multipliers.
Yeah.
And it had never been included all the years I've been here and before that, so I added them. So 3 of them will be
Some of those
assessed.
lots are in a tree forest, protected.
Are they?
Yeah, we're
Okay.
working on that
Okay.
now.
Okay.
Well, that's what I'm
We'll
saying,
keep you
if
informed.
they'd be zero assessed because they're in a tree farm, not because they're small lots or anything.
Well,
That's,
Another animal. Well, but you wanna know why they're zero, I mean, just because somebody said they were zero 40 years ago. But then they said they had value,
this,
they were of common value to the community.
yes.
the 6 are something like 6 feet wide.
Sure they weren't just old easements or something down the lake?
They look like they could have been,
Well,
but
most
they don't
easements are
go
only 6 or
anyplace.
8 feet wide.
But they don't go anyplace, so they're all, in effect, they are easements, because nobody's using them anyway.
Can we get them marked on the map there?
They are. They're so small, you never notice.
Can't see them on that map?
Yeah, you can.
Are they within the 27 acres or 27
Some of
lots?
them are.
Yeah,
Most
they're
of them are.
inside, they're
There are all
inside.
of them.
So they're in addition to the 27?
No, they're in the database, they're
They're
on my
out
list
there.
in the database in QuickBooks. They were not in the list, it's a spreadsheet, they're called multipliers. John Gray called them multipliers.
Well, we know why they
I'm not
multiply
sure.
them.
Right. So they were not on that list, which I've just always carried forward from previous years. I mean, it's the list I started with in 2003, you know, from the previous years.
Interesting.
I think this shows that the initial QuickBooks reading was very, very accurate, and what you've done is double-checked, and we're in good order. Okay.
Okay. The entrance signs, I had a call from Mike Davis at Hilltop Signs. He's doing the Leeson Cove one. He said that should be ready within the next couple of weeks. Also had Miss Utility. I contacted them at Gary's suggestion to mark any utilities which might be located to the adjacent, adjacent to the sign at Leeson Cove and the one here at Beretta. So I already told Larry, so he starts to dig. You'll know.
So we are making progress.
Right. And the spring meet.
Under the snow?
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Will it be there?
And I just emailed the spring newsletter to everybody today, so if you guys can have comments by the end of this week, when I get back from my vacation on the 12th, I'd like to start maybe being able to make any changes and then print that week and get it out.
No comments on it?
Yeah, that's good. That's it for me.
Okay, I have nothing to report for roundtable. Dwayne? Gary?
I don't think anything that won't come out in committee reports.
Dennis? Aubrey? Max? Larry, you're back from Mexico and smiling.
Well, it's good to be back, and it's good to be.
Hold it in.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
I love this stuff. I play with my
You
tractor,
can take it with
snow,
you.
clean everybody's driveway up, so I did my good deed, so I'm back. On
Okay.
Deer Drive.
Action items, the office was informed that we had stormwater directed at one of the community members' septic field and his septic is in the process of failing, so,
Yeah, Rio contacted me, I guess February 12th, in regards to 401 Delaware. Mr. Bob Evans lives there and has had a failure of a critical failure of the septic system. And so I went down to take a look at it, and there is an under-road pipe, storm drainage pipe, which oddly kind of angles towards his house and his property, as opposed to coming directly across the street or angling towards the drum point right away, which drains down to the lake. And so I did go in to speak to Matt Cummers at the health department, who's designing the system for Mr. Evans, and he indicated that there was a critical failure to his septic system. There was raw sewage coming out of the surface of his property, and the only place to put a new field was a semi, not a true mound system, but a semi-mound system, which would have to be placed directly in front of where this outfall pipe was. You know, I can't say, but I'm sure there might have been some contributing factor to this flow of water towards his property, which probably didn't help the situation. But you know, my recommendation was that it should, you know, the Drum Point community should bear the responsibility to deflect this water elsewhere into their right of way, so that he could do what he needed to do. Everybody, you know, the health department and Mr. Evans, I think, is very agreeable to all that. So anyways, I did get to, I drew up a plan for it and got 2 proposals to do the work. One of which was from D&J Hauling for $2,600. And the other one was from ABM, which was for $32.49.
so it's 26 versus 32?
Yeah, it's about a $650 difference. D&J Hauling is, you know, by far, you know, less expensive. And I'm familiar with the individuals doing the work. They're highly competent, you know.
In both cases?
Yes, D&J.
Both cases.
Yeah, I'm familiar with ABM too, which is now Muirhead. He's done some work for Drum Point in the past, although he's been a little more expensive on some of his proposals. D&J is kind of new as far as doing work for Drum Point, but these are actually employees for Great Mills.
Dennis?
I move that we accept the D&J Hauling proposal to do the storage and drainage repair work on 401 Delaware Drive.
I'll second it.
Okay, discussion, Gary?
I read this extensively, had some questions. They're all answered appropriately. The basic question was, if you read Al or ABM is saying they've got to remove a tree and something about the guardrail and all those answers. I mean, that's why his price is higher. You think he's got to do different work because of the equipment he's using. I think the $2,600 is the way to go.
Call the question.
Gary, I'm sorry, normally I can hear you easily. You said there's a what is the guardrail involved?
The difference between the 2 quotes is that ABM has to do some work to the guardrail to accommodate his equipment, and he's got to remove a tree. And apparently either D&J doesn't have to do it, or they've absorbed the cost. So.
So it's equivalent work?
Correct.
All right.
Absolutely, yes.
All right, Dennis, you said,
Call the question.
I'm not ready.
Yeah, on that.
Yes,
Do
wait.
either of these proposals include the cost for permits and everything? I didn't see that in here.
We hold a permit.
Okay,
It's the grading
Okay.
permit that we
Okay.
already
Yeah,
have.
grading permit.
okay. Just-
Any other comments before I call the question? Okay, everyone in favor of the motion to accept D&J Hauling?
Aye.
Okay. I guess there's no one opposed, so it's D&J hauling. That's it, isn't it?
That's it, that's the only thing we have really to discuss tonight.
Okay, he'll be here for the roads committee. Right.
Yeah, I can be.
All right, well, let me start off roads committee by
Okay.
simply saying that, and I haven't talked to you on the phone about this, I don't think, but there are a lot of cracks, little bitty cracks showing up on some roads that we thought were very solid, that haven't been rejuvenated. And when the spring finally comes, we'll be looking forward to your doing a resurvey of what's eligible for rejuvenation. The cracks are an indication, mini cracks, that the roads are getting drilled.
Okay, well, I think like I discussed when we did have our meeting, what I do need from you is to give me a budget that you want to spend for me to place the most in need into.
Right. It's what we had previously budgeted is 46,000 each year.
Okay,
But the reason I'm raising this particular point now, in addition to our previous discussions, is the age of the asphalt is catching up with us. So when you get to 46,000, if there are any more that are eligible, we need to see them listed as second priority in case our ship comes in.
Okay, all right, I can do that.
That's all. Any other, okay, roads committee is,
We have not had a meeting of the roads committee since the last time, but we do have, the roads committee members have been working offline, and we'll be having a meeting here pretty quick, probably next week, to produce a draft budget as requested from the planning committee. And when that's done, I suppose the planning committee can probably pull everything together after that, so hopefully that can happen in March. Also, we have this invoice for, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the details. I was not here for this.
but some of us were on the phone while you were gone.
And I did speak on the phone, that's true, but I wasn't here for it. So I can't speak to the performance.
I wasn't here either.
So those, maybe I would just open it up to anybody who was here. How was the performance?
Peter was driving around, Peter Holt was driving around, and he was happy.
Okay. So this
That
was
was
the
from,
13th snow, or what day was this?
That wasn't salt.
February
was it?
12th.
Is that salt?
That's-
That was
There
the
was
pre-salt.
It was very salt and a little bit of labor. It was mostly
Yeah.
salt, so.
That was salting,
Latest is 4,500. Without the
The labor
percentage.
is so small, that it's not
What do
the.
we,
Yeah.
what do we,
What was the labor?
Well,
$500 and some dollars, so the percentage is hard out of labor.
I'm
wait a minute, but let's have Rhea explain
Please, Rick, would you
the whole
explain?
thing since she had created this
Well,
spreadsheet.
I guess this was just a pre-salt.
Yeah,
I
it
wasn't here,
was
so all it
pre-
was salting, so most of the cost is salt, $39.90. The labor cost is just $566. So you're looking at a percentage of that between 5 and 15%. And I emailed the spreadsheet. Labor cost $566. If you add 5%, you have $28.30 added for a total of $594 on labor. Plus your salt, $39.90. You want your totals instead?
Yeah, let's do this. Unless anyone has something other to add, I would say we just go with, I mean, there wasn't much labor involved here. The question is, did they get the salt down in time? And the
They
answer is
did.
yes.
They did.
I would
it.
recommend a 10%, so I would move to award a 10% to.
second motion?
Any further discussion? Okay, everyone in favor?
Well, the only thing I'd like to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry, I was just thinking.
I
I
couldn't
mean,
quite tell whether you were seconding or.
I would like to see this go away next year when we do it. I mean, just you bid it as is and what they charge, because they do what they have to get their money in. For us to do a 10 to 15%, I would like to see it go away. I just want to make that comment.
I agree with you, and keep that in mind when it's time for us to write that request. Okay. Are you voting? No, you're discussing, all
I
right.
was gonna respond. While you weren't here, we just said the same thing.
Okay.
We're all tired of
I
this.
miss everything.
We're all
No,
tired,
I mean,
yeah.
you were enjoying the sunshine some of
And
it. We
the
were
roads committee's
talking
supposed to
percentages and it's just.
include that in their,
Yes, okay.
there's requests for bids from everybody for next year, so
Right.
supposedly it's sort of handled.
Okay.
No, this is very good because it,
Okay.
We can move.
so that we don't have to ask your permission to rewrite the contract ahead of time. And everyone in favor of the 10%? Okay, thank you, Rita.
You done?
Or was this in
That's all I
mine?
have,
That was
sir.
in mine, okay.
Thank you.
Tell her.
All right, back to the agenda. Finance Committee, Max.
Nothing special, you have the standard reports. Using up a lot of snow removal money, that's about all that's going on. Nothing else to report, no meetings, no submissions, nothing.
If I may react to your presentation, I'm sort of looking out of the corner of my eye at what might be left of our carryover funds from the STD, and we're probably up around $50,000 total for snow removal when we get the next invoice for this current event.
Easily.
So, hopefully you'll, and then of course we have the D&J hauling. So hopefully you can give us an update on the carryover in our next meeting.
Okay.
That would be great. Environmental, we obtained a permit to remove some weed trees growing next to the sign because by next year we would have had a forest. And my husband and I went out and cut them down. I'm still checking, there may be one or two more that are under the permit. I'm waiting for Dan Stallings to confirm. You can see the permit hanging over there in the office. We're in the process of negotiating an appropriate date, second topic, to meet with the State Highway Authority. Hi.
Hello. Sorry, I'm late.
Is that in extra packet?
Yeah.
We're on the Environmental Committee report. We're in the process of meeting with, setting up a meeting with an engineer from the State Highway Authority and members of the Environmental Committee. And Barry, I know you keep quitting the Environmental Committee, but I hope you'll join us when they come, just to go and look at the outflow under Rousby Hall Road into Leeson's Cove. So we may actually be moving towards something because we'll be speaking directly to the State Highway Authority to at least stop the pollution of Mill Creek via that route. That's my report. Planning Committee?
We haven't had any meetings since the last report, so I have nothing to report on. We hope, I'll just say that we hope to have a planning committee meeting by the end of the month.
Okay. Nominating committee, Peter Holt is not here. I think his son is having back surgery today.
Is he?
Yeah.
Peter is?
Peter's son.
Oh, okay.
His
I'm
son-in-law.
sorry,
His son-in-law, okay, in Rockville or something. And I had thought Marcia Lapham I never know how to pronounce her name, would be here. They've been keeping me somewhat informed, but as far as I know, we don't have any more nominees yet. So it's simply Gary and me standing to fill 2 of the 4 openings we're anticipating. So that's it for committee reports. And I don't have any old business to offer unless someone else has anything. Then it's time for you to raise the signs again, Max.
Raise what sign?
What's happening with the entrance sign?
You already told us.
Okay, good. And we have no new business.
Get to work there.
Yes, I will.
Yes, Larry,
I know.
now that Sagana is here. All right, we have no new business planned. Does anyone have anything to offer? Then I think we're ready to schedule the next meeting, which I'd like to move back to our first Tuesday regular meeting time next month. And I've asked the club to do quid pro quo and move their meeting for the end, last couple of months of the fiscal year to the second Tuesday. Does anyone have an objection to April Fool's Day as the next meeting, April 1st?
Well, why are we moving off of our regular Tuesday night?
Our regular Tuesday night is the
Tuesday night
first
for-
Tuesday.
No, it's the second Tuesday. It's been the second Tuesday for the past 20 years. There's some reason to be changing that. Everybody's got it on their schedules that way.
Yes. Was it the second Tuesday? I thought it
Second
was-
Tuesday is what it's always been, what it was this year. As I
It's
remember.
been for 20 years. It's never changed.
All right,
Well,
then it's April 8th.
Historically, I don't know of any difficulty ever with the DPPOA
It was
meetings.
first Tuesday, but anyway, we'll do April 8th.
Well, we did
since-
this one on the first Tuesday. That's the only change we've had.
Okay,
Okay, any more public comment?
we could use another lady on our board if you wanna know what's going on.
No, that's okay.
Well,
She's frying bigger fish these days.
you see how many people care and come to our meetings?
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Well, usually there are 2 or 3.
I'm sorry for those comments.
It's okay. We're happy to have you back with all of your... Okay, in that case, may I adjourn the meeting, Dennis?
I was just gonna say, I'm gonna leave right after this, I won't know what's blocking me in. I know
You're
you're
gonna go to
expecting
the other
somebody
meeting.
else. You guys are expecting Mr. Hart or somebody?
Yes, he's coming at
Yeah.
8:15, I think.
Yeah.
So just come, if you block in, come back. I move to adjourn the meeting.
second.
Everyone in favor?
What do you say?
Go ahead,
Can I ask,
you're all night.